Hi everyone and welcome to the vlog. We are going to be using some of our exciting new Chapter 4 dies to create a framed scrapbook page. Now I'm going to be using some nice 3D mixed media techniques, so I hope you enjoy it and let's jump in. So today I am going to be using these two fabulous Chapter 4 dies. This one is called Negative Florals. It's called Negative Florals, but it's a very positive die set. I absolutely love this one. This is what I like to call a mixed media die. I don't know if anyone else calls them that. The reason I call it a mixed media die is because it allows us to either create a stencil, and it gives us loads of opportunity for using some of our effects range, some of our more 3D effects range items. This is 3D adhesive and this is Expand Paste. We don't often get to use this, but it's absolutely brilliant stuff and you'll see why in just a bit. I'm also going to be using this Winter Wreath here. This is by Lisa Jones. They're both by Lisa Jones, these dies, so of course they're going to be fantastic. This one here is a really cool stylized winter wreath, but it doesn't just have to be winter, this one. You can use it depending on the colours that you use. You can, if you've laid up these florals, this could be a summer wreath, but you do have the options of the stars and snowflakes to make a really cool winter wreath. So we're going to be using these two dies, but I think the main focus of this vlog is going to be the mixed media techniques. Now, I'm going to start by cutting the Negative Florals. Now I'm not using stencil film for this. I say I'm going to start by cutting. What I actually meant is I'm going to start by showing you the piece that I've already cut. Because with a die like this, it is a great thing to have maybe the precision base plate or a shim to make sure that the whole thing cuts through just in one nice foul swoop. So I've cut it here from a thicker cardstock. This is some of our white cardstock. And the reason I've done this is because I'm using my paste here. Now this is 3D adhesive and Expand Paste, so you know that it's going to have 3D qualities to it. So I need the shallow walls in here to give it that tactile nature. Now let's jump straight in with this. I'm going to use my Expand Paste on this. I could use either of these for different effects, but I'm going to use this Expand Paste, and I'm so excited to show you what the Expand Paste does for those who haven't already seen it. Now, I haven't got my texture tool, which is silly of me. I'm going to be using just this palette knife instead, but a texture tool will make short work of pulling your medium over a thick stencil like this. So I've applied just a little bit of repositionable adhesive spray to the back of it, just a very quick spritz to help me make sure that it's flat down to the surface. Now our cardstock has two sides. We've got this really textured side here, and then we've got the smoother side on the back. I'm going to be stenciling onto the smoother side here. So I'm going to push that down, and I know that's flat now, so I can come over with some of my Expand Paste. Now a lot of people ask about the drying time. It's just such a nice quality that it's so easy to work with because it has body, it doesn't drip, it's just great stuff there. I could do this all day, but I won't. Here we go. So I'm going to pull this right over here and make sure that the whole thing has taken all these kind of apertures here need to be absolutely full of the Expand Paste. Or, you do have the option if you wanted to only use a partial bit of the aperture that's been cut here. I'm using the full thing. Okay, now watch this. This is what makes it all worth it. Doing things like this. Ooh, look at that. That is so satisfying. I'm sure that everyone at home won't begrudge me with the amount of pleasure that I get from just peeling stuff off and seeing that lovely crisp edge there. Now, this is tactile. I don't want to touch it now. I would let this dry first. But it doesn't matter too much with Expand Paste. It depends on the effect that you're going for, because we are going to be applying heat to this. It is great to let it settle for a bit, let it dry, so that you can, because there's different effects that you can do holding the heat tool further away or closer, and I'm going to show you that right now. I'll put this to one side over here, and I'm going to get out the one so I have let this dry, and then I've pre-cut some of it off, so there's only partial of this negative floral here. Now, here is when we get to see the magic happen. I'm gonna, so as I talk, hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the heat tool and we'll talk it through. Okay, so I've got it on a low heat here, and I can choose to either bring the heat tool really close, which I will show you the effect, or we can turn it up and we can bring it further away for a different effect, because the paste expands in different ways. One way you can use it is by, if we can just see here, these parts starting to turn white and crisp up. Now, because I've made one earlier, I will show you what happens when we let it actually go full force. But we can keep expanding this as much as we want until we're happy with it, then take the heat away and it will stop expanding. But this stuff is absolutely great. You can mix this with our creamy acrylics for different coloured expand paste. I thought the kind of the white nature of it, or almost an ivory, works really well on this lilac cardstock here. Now, but watch what happens when I bring it really close. Now look at how that's expanding. And it really pops. You can see it's starting to sort of pop like popcorn now. So there we are. Now, let me show you the difference between the two distances, or the two heats that I applied to it. So this one here, now it might be hard because the differences are subtle here to tell the difference here, but this one has not popped as much as this one. This one is puffed up almost like popcorn kernels. Are they called kernels? Kernels?
Oh no.
Kernels?
Those things that get stuck in your teeth.
Are they? Yeah, but they're the things that pop, aren't they, with popcorn? Do they call it popcorn in the US?
Yeah.
Yeah, popcorn kernels. Someone can tell me in the comments if it's called a kernel, but yeah, you know what I mean. They pop up. So this one's really inflated, and it's given such a kind of a really impactful effect here, whereas this one is more subtle. And same on this. This is almost in between here. So this one is from far away, really controlled, and take your time with the heating. This one, go nuts, let it burst out. This stuff is really great if you're creating fake snow on the top of, you know, maybe 3D things. It's really, really cool stuff. So I'm glad I got to use that because it was very fun. Now, before I carry on with this, I'm going to actually tear it. I'm not ruining it. This is part of the make. So I want a nice organic edge on my scrapbook page. I do this a lot. I just think having a nice kind of, you know, torn bits, organic bits, and then tidying them up afterwards, that's what it's all about for me. Because for me, mixed media is about creating a mess and then making it look beautiful. And that's what we're doing today. And we are going to be doing it by layering up a memory of course, my beautiful daughter, Maisie. Now, the actual picture that I want is black and white, which is on the finished thing, but I've done a colour one here to show you the difference. And I bet people are sat at home saying, we know that it's because you couldn't work out how to digitally turn the image black and white. And to those people, I say, you are absolutely right, I couldn't work it out. And James, our cameraman, is looking at me because it's probably very easy, but I couldn't work it out. Anyway, so before we carry on, so this is going to be a layered up scrapbook page here. Now it's going to look like this, but I don't want to waste this white space here. Although I love white space, I want to fill it on this. So I'm going to put a nice streak using some 3D adhesive down here because we're going to be creating a nice foiled streak here. So let's do that now. I'm going to keep it up on top of here for now because I want to show where I'm putting my streak. We're going to use my trusty, I was going to call it a spatula, but it is a craft knife. No, it's not a craft knife, it's a palette knife. And I'm going to take some of our 3D adhesive. Now, difference between the 3D adhesive and the Expand Paste is that the 3D adhesive isn't going to pop like the Expand Paste. Okay, so now this is where my media mat comes into its own because I can turn it this way and I can do my streak along here. So a nice organic streak. Let's do it in one go, just like this. And the messier for me, the better. Look at that. That is a perfect streak. It's actually a shame that we're not using that streak because we have to leave it to dry. So I've prepped one earlier. I will clean this. I'm going to put the lid on this before it dries. Now with not Expand Paste, now with 3D adhesive, you can leave that for as long as you need for it to fully dry before we apply our foil sheets, which are here. Because once it dries, you can reactivate the tack using the heat tool. So let's bring in the one that I've created earlier. And I've got it on my board, ready to layer up and compose my scrapbook page. Here, scrapbook page. I think I said scrapbook page then. Okay, so this has dried. Now it's not that tacky now. I probably could use this just about with these foil sheets, but I want to make sure that we are reactivating that tack. So let's get out my foil sheet. You do it less clumsily than me and keep the packaging all nice. Love these foil sheets. So to apply these, I'm going to reactivate this and then we're going to have the shiny part facing upwards. Something I used to get confused with. You want the shiny part facing upwards and just remember it because that's the bit you're going to want to see. So, doesn't take long. A low setting. Just going to go over that applied streak of 3D adhesive and then we're ready to foil. Wow, look at that. So it's all coming off there, and that's what happens when you reactivate the tack on these. You get all of this comes off in one go. Now, if you want a distressed look, you can achieve that as well, like this. Now with this foiling like this, you can be as precise as you like really. You could have this whole thing perfectly foiled, or you can leave bits out where you can still see some of the white cardstock through there. And that's what I'm doing today because I want a nice distressed look. This white bit here though, I want to get rid of that. There we are. So put my foil sheet back down there. Now I just get to layer up what I've already done. So I will be taking this, which I have applied just a bit of repositionable adhesive to the back there to get good coverage, but we can use express glue for that. There we are. So my scrapbook page is starting to come together. Like this. And all I need to do is create my little composition on there. This is the backdrop. I'm going to create my composition for this nice little photo of Maisie. And I'm just scrapbooking for the sake of scrapbooking, just to capture memories. Okay, so time to compose my composition. Time to put it all on the thing. So I've taken this wreath, so this is the actual wreath part from the Winter Wishes wreath. Now, I'm not using it to create a whole big wreath here. I just wanted this element, and then I'm going to take the rest of some of these star elements to layer up later on as I go. So let's do that now. There we have it. I'm really happy with the composition here. All those different themes. I mean, in my opinion, it's hard to get a mix of these sort of organic looking patterns here. The florals there and the nice sort of bold stylized stars, but they just work together here. This picture of Maisie with the white frame around it looks like an instant photo. I've printed it and cut the whiteboard around. All these little elements just set it off, and angling things just slightly, but enough to make it look like it's intentional, has just made this, and also the foam tape. I can't say enough about foam tape to make some of the elements pop off the page. You might have noticed when I did my sentiment here that says it's a good day to be happy. I've actually stamped that, and I used my Stencil and Stamp Tool. And that made quick work of stamping. It made sure that I could get it accurate. It's just an absolute lifesaver. I did mention that I had the black and white one with me that I've made earlier. I like the black and white one. It's framed as well. And the reason I like this one is because it kind of, the colours in the photo don't fight against all these lovely Sizzix colours around the outside. So there we have it. So that was my framed scrapbook page using those fantastic Chapter 4 dies. Make sure you have a look on the website at the rest of our Chapter 4 because it is a really exciting chapter. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give us a like and maybe a subscribe, and I will see you next time.